Transformation begins with a dream, a vision that challenges the present and imagines a better tomorrow. Since the dawn of computing, women have been there, dreaming. Ada, Grace, and countless hidden figures who dare to dream beyond the boundaries set before them. Today, we stand on their shoulders, our dreams amplified by their courage. But the dream isn't just to participate, it's to lead, innovate, and drive change. Women in Tech started with a dream, that of empowering women and girls in STEAM across the world.
So my dream began with a single belief that every woman and girl could unlock their potential in the world of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And Women in Tech is really the embodiment of that dream, reaching across continents, cultures, and communities.
From humble beginnings, Women in Tech is today one of the world's leading organizations for supporting women in STEAM. They work under 4 main pillars: education, business, digital inclusion, and advocacy. Women in Tech has already impacted thousands of people around the world.
Our dream is bold: to empower 5 million women and girls by 2030.
Meeting 7 Sustainable Development Goals.
Together, we're not just dreaming, we are doing.
With the new Women in Tech Hub is a dynamic platform and app connecting members across the world with networking events, mentoring, and job opportunities. Their hard and soft skills programs stretch across continents, equipping individuals with the tools for success in an evolving digital landscape.
Our learning centers stand as safe havens, providing communities with access to computers, Wi-Fi, and training, supporting not just girls and boys, but nurturing potential in everyone.
Through our collective efforts, we champion dreams into reality, where technology empowers all.
From a dream, Women in Tech has become a global movement that is unleashing the full potential of women around the world.
Good morning, good evening, depending upon what part of the world you're in. If it's Friday, it is the CEO series, and we are honored today to have a dear friend, Maya Ayoub, who's the Saudi Arabia Country Director of Women in Tech Global Movement. And I'm honored to have you here with us today.
Good evening, good afternoon, Ron. How are you? Long time.
Long time, yes, long time. Last time we were together with Starbucks on Sheikh Zayed Road, having an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
So
I can never forget that day.
Yeah, that was an interesting day, but that's a sideline conversation. So as we say, that's sideline for us. So
thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's a little delayed. Okay, well, we're good. I want you to walk us through. We always start our conversations with walking us through the career journey. You're the country director, Saudi Arabia country director for Women in Tech. How did that come about from leaving your country to get to that point? Walk us through that little journey.
Well, I started actually my career like back then when I started with my family business. And then I decided to venture my own business because with the thought I had that being an entrepreneur is like the ultimate freedom and leaving the 9-to-5 work culture. I didn't know back then how challenging it was to be an entrepreneur. And then I started my first baby, Fait Parfait, which is a small boutique agency, and which led to a bigger company called District 12, where we actually we provide a full-fledged service for summits and exhibition, where we start by setting the direction of the summit, identifying the whole panel discussions, also allocating speakers from a local and international perspective, as well as providing monetization for the events. And we had a niche in tech in tech events, and health tech, fintech, edutech, and I think we've had a good collaboration together in Dubai in the last event we've worked on. And I was really immersed in the tech field. And I was once actually in Paris, and a friend of mine invited me to attend the Women in Tech Global Summit. And I cannot begin to describe what I felt when I entered the room, the energy they have and the mission, this group of trailblazers and women that really want to create impact. And I had a chat with Ayumi, the founder, and she actually she suggested that I lead on the Saudi chapter, and this is how it started.
Wow. And, not only that, but you started in Saudi, which is coming into its own now. And that Women in Tech really connects to the future vision of Saudi Arabia. Any thoughts from your side?
It's outstanding. It's beyond the energy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were freezing a little bit there a few seconds ago.
Yeah. Now can you hear me better, Ron?
I hear you better now, yeah.
Yeah. So the development of the women in tech field in Saudi Arabia is outstanding. Women have already reached the capacity or the milestone and the KPI set by the Vision 2030. The whole ecosystem is really thriving in the technology space.
Wow, that's amazing. But what I find amazing about that is someone saw something in you. You said you were in Paris, you were having a conversation with the young lady, and she said, you would make a country director for Saudi Arabia. I mean, she didn't say it like that, but that's a pretty powerful statement because she saw something there. What do you think was there that she saw that you had the capabilities of coming in and hitting the ground running?
Well, I've always had this drive within me to create impact and change everything around me, including myself. And I've started actually since a very young age when I was a Scouts girl, and I used to lead the team I'm with. And then my first women empowerment event happened in 2014 with the UN in my home country in Beirut. And then after that, I also was one of the founding members of a Women League Association, which and I felt like I really could sense the impact we create on women with the empowerment we were doing. However, I always wanted to seek for a bigger umbrella, an international one, and I found what I really want to achieve and the impact we could really create on international scene with the Women in Tech Global. Especially being linked to the World Economic Forum, where we operate under the Edison Alliance, which measures the impact we create in terms of inclusion for women and girls in STEM fields.
I follow you. I follow you on social, and I see you're at the World Economic Forum. You're in Paris. You're doing all these things, and I'm saying, wow, pretty good life. But it comes back to what you said, that you feel that you're making an impact. So when you look back on all of that trajectory and how do you move to where you were today, what would you say was a pivotal moment that that you knew you were onto something, and I'm going to pursue this, and I'm going to keep trying because it's not going to be easy?
Well, it's all started with my entrepreneurial venture I started. When you are an entrepreneur, when you are handling the whole aspect of the business, from the marketing, the accounting, the operational, the legal, and then you feel that you really need to make it. You have no choice but to succeed. And this I think this entrepreneurial spirit and the resilience I build with the perseverance I have led to build who I am right now. And I feel that I need to share this with other women, especially the part of financial inclusion, where I feel this is a necessity for each and every human being, actually, especially for women, for her own well-being and for the economy as a whole. So this is part of the mission I have, and this is what was one of my keynote speeches that I had at the WEF last January.
Last January, what event was that?
At the World Economic Forum. This is where I had my keynote speech on financial inclusion.
Yeah, I was telling someone the other day that was at the Davos. Was it Davos? And I said, my goal next year, I want to be there, even if I'm just standing in the crowd. I just want to be there to immerse myself, in that, because that's to be selected, to be able to go to the World Economic Forum and to share insights. That's a powerful statement, whether you want to admit to it or not, because they could choose anyone from across the globe, but you were one of the people they chose to come and do that. Do you see it that way?
Well, I think that I'm how can I say it? Actually, the energy we had and the experience at the World Economic Forum is one of a kind to start with. So I'd really advise you to go. The amount of decision makers and the whole topics, definitely it was purely about AI and the climate topic wherever you go. But me being there is part of probably the hard work I'm doing. I would say that.
As I said, that's on my bucket list. So hopefully I'll check that off next year. So let's talk about, where did all this come from? So, when you think about, growing up in Lebanon and you transitioned to the Middle East and you built a name for yourself, a brand for yourself in the Middle East. Talk about inspirations in your life and how did all this come about? Who inspired you? Who mentored you? How did you get there?
In terms of inspirational people in my life, I'm usually inspired by many things, many people. I get inspired by beautiful things, by people in my life. It doesn't have to be like someone as a leader. I'm really inspired, for example, by the women I meet at Women in Tech, by these trailblazers trying to break barriers in the technology space. But if I wanna think of one person who really inspired me in my life and was my mentor and my idol in my life, I think it started at my family and the way they believed in me and they pushed me to my limit. And I think of my dad right here because he instilled in me this work culture and the work ethics and being resilient and to persevere, to always set a goal and work until I reach it. I would think of my father.
Okay, cool. Is he still alive today?
No, he passed away.
Okay, cool. So that kind of pushes you on, in doing that. And we all have these anchors and, that we, connect to learnings from those particular times. Any particular moment or learnings from your father said, always do, your parents always said, always do this, always do this. My father would always give me these words or these phrases. And I'd always, even today, I look back and anchor some of the things that he told me, and he was right.
I would say that one of the most important, I really watched him, how he used to work, because I've worked with him at the very beginning, at the early years of my career. I was working with my father, and I watched him, the way he does the financial management, the strategic planning, how he's the way he deals in business. He was really unstoppable. And I think this is when you say you lead by example. He was leading me just by example, and it shaped me into who I am right now.
Okay, cool. So when you look back on the trajectory, we started from here and we're going to here. What did you see as the biggest challenge you had to overcome to get to this so-called level that you're at today? When you look back on that journey, what would you say was the biggest challenge? And tell us a little about that.
Well, I'm a high achiever, so I work a lot. I work super hard, And sometimes I struggle in maintaining the work-life balance, especially when you are an entrepreneur. It's extremely challenging to give birth to an idea and to put it into a profitable business and then scaling it up. So you forget about yourself. And especially right now, so I'm leading my venture, I'm leading on women in tech, I'm a public speaker, I attend conferences, I take trainings and courses. So really it's important. It was very challenging actually for me to keep this balance. Now I'm really focused at this space to be able to keep going and be more productive.
Mm. It's that was one of the questions I was going to ask, is that how do you stay ahead of tech is just evolving and disruptive and innovation, all these things come about. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask. How do you stay so-called ahead of the curve? If you're the head of women in tech, your learning curve must be steep. I mean, what you're reading, conversations you're having, conferences you're attending.
This is exactly where I was mentioning before, that you really need to work on your learning, the continuous journey that you have. So learning should never stop, whether it's attending webinars, attending conferences, taking online courses, mentorship through different, and especially when I be like, I sit as a judge on different competition for women in tech. This is where I really learn the different breakthrough, the market innovation that these startups are coming with. So I need to be ahead of the game and stay up to date with all the technological advancement. And now the last course I took actually was at LSE, at the London School of Economics. I just completed my public policy analysis course because I really love public policy, and I really want to delve actually into tech diplomacy, because I believe that women are still really underrepresented in the technology, in the leadership, in the tech field. So I wanted to work more on the space.
I want to acknowledge a good friend of mine, and I'm gonna acknowledge the people that are listening in. John South. He said his father offered great wisdom between sips of coffee and decorating cakes because they were in the bakery business. Today, his words pop up in my mind at the most opportune times. And that anchor from growing up and you having those people in your life. So I wanted to kind of acknowledge the people that are here. Peter Piccinini, who's going to be an upcoming guest, he says the CEO series is a great way to start the weekend. Jacob says, right person in the right place at the right time. So I'm assuming that's probably a friend of someone that that made that statement. It is, in fact, gives us a thumbs up. Palash says hi. So there's another statement from John. Does your guest have any suggestions on website and newsletters best suited to help us stay abreast of AI automation? One that you can reference to or whatever it would be.
Interesting. I'm happy we have good viewers today.
We have good viewers. Any thoughts on suggestions for websites or newsletters that you read to keep you kind of ahead of the curve?
Well, actually, they can join our Women in Tech Hub, because we have always, we share publications, we have ongoing events, and in events there's many experts. And if they can attend our events, they would really enrich their knowledge about all the technological disruptions. And I'm always on LinkedIn, as you may know. On LinkedIn, you can see everything happening. This is my space. I live there.
And it's great that you live there, because the new leader or the new executive today, social is you have to have a presence for the brand. And lots of times I discuss with people, I said, well, I don't really want to do that. I said, you know what? You're going to have to do it, because whether you want to do it, hire somebody to do it, but you need a space there to say who you are and what you're about. And you do a very good job for that, because I follow you, and you always offering insights and where you're attending and all these kinds of things. So as you know, I've always been a big fan, and we've been friends a long, long time. And
I know, and
yeah.
I really value our friendship, and I'm humbled by the comments you leave on my posts. To be honest,
Oh,
it's
that's
this. I think the really the impact, like the reaction of people on my post for me is priceless.
yeah.
It keeps me going on. To be honest,
I know that's the fuel. That's the fuel. You fill a full tank and you keep moving
yeah.
until it goes to E again. So, how would you, in running a women in tech, you got a big organization because you're the country head of women in tech. How would you describe your leadership style? How would you describe yourself as a leader?
Well, I lead first of all by example. Definitely, I lead by example. I try to show young girls that they really can do it. That I'm not perfect. That I work hard, and I'm open for them to any if they wanna like any mentorship, any advice, any tips at work, and within my team, really leading with compassion and empathy and listening, being like a good listener and pushing them to their limits.
Okay. So, AFAC said, "What are your responsibilities as country director for women in tech? What a wannabe startup women from Saudi Arabia can expect from you? Can you respond to that? What is your role as country director? First of all, let's take it from there, and I think that should cover it.
Yeah. First of all, we work on partnerships. We work on like growing the community in Saudi Arabia, and we work on lots of educational events, master classes, workshops. For example, now we have an initiative with the Amazon Web Services to upskill 5,000 women in cloud computing in Saudi Arabia. We worked with Cardano Foundation on blockchain course. We have our upcoming award ceremony. Actually, we're going to talk about that probably in the next part. And we do crowdfunding as well. We have as well the global network that startups can benefit from, whether they wanna connect with a startup in Sao Paulo. They would just go on the hub and they have all the database. I think networking is one of the biggest assets that we have.
So, women in tech is situated in all countries, basically. So, you're Saudi Arabia. So, and looking at the video that we use as the intro today, you had from across the globe. Um, what are the future plans of women in tech? I mean, what does the strategy look like for the next, say, 5 years out?
We are actually on a mission to empower 5 million women by 2030. This is our mission until 2030, and we are working on achieving this goal. We have a big expansion plan, and in terms of one is the global solution. And the awards ceremony that we have, which is going to be at the MENA Award ceremony in October 2024, and the Global Award ceremony in line with COP29 in Baku on the 14th of November.
And where's that going to be held?
The Global Award ceremony is going to be in Baku with COP29, and the MENA Award ceremony is going to be in Riyadh. I will not reveal with who we are doing it, but we will let you know very soon. It's a surprise.
Okay, let me know. I'd love to just sit in the back. I won't say anything. I'll just sit in the back near the door. You know, if possible.
No, you're invited, Ron. You're definitely invited.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, no worries at all. So IFAC says 5 million women. Is that universal or is that Saudi only?
No, it's a universal. It's universal, like the mission we have on a universal landscape.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about mentorship. So it's not easy being an entrepreneur. And sometimes you just need to kind of sit back and listen or talk it out with someone. Talk to us about the importance of mentorship in your life And then we'll flip it and say, how are you mentoring other people? Because that's a huge thrust to say 5 million people. So talk about it through two lenses: mentorship from your side and mentorship pushing downward.
Well, mentorship from my side, I really wish I knew the impact of mentorship like 10 or 15 years ago. I think I would have gone way further in my career. Because as I told you, an entrepreneur, I was trying to figure out everything myself. I didn't know like I can go seek out mentorship from experts, whether it's in finance, whether it's in operation excellence. So I didn't know back then how important it was. Now, if I reflect or I go back 15 years ago, I would say this is extremely important, and we should really ask any question. Asking, be curious, just ask anything, whether it was the right people or not. Just ask. The more you ask, the more curious, the better that you have exposure to what's happening around you, to everything on, like all the techniques that might be helpful to you. So I would say that if I want to think of one mentor in my life, I think that there are plenty of them, and with time, I'm learning to have much more. I always seek mentorship, even right now, and I will need it much more as well in the future. Whenever you are growing, you need to seek advice from people who were in your shoes. And I remember you, Ron, in one of the summits that you were present with me. I think it was one of my very beginning experience in public speaking, and I was really like I was I was frustrated to go on stage, and I really cannot forget the way you empowered me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, people think that public speaking is hard, but you know what? It's the same as we're talking, here today. I remember that, but but you got on the stage and you wowed the stage, you wowed the audience. No. I'm gonna be honest, because you got up and I knew where this was coming from, and you got up and you nailed it, and I'm like, yes, you did it.
You're not biased, are you?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. I told someone the other day, I said, when you got up to speak, I put my phone down. She said, oh my God, that's the greatest honor. I said, no, because I knew you were going to have something to say once you started off. And it was kind of the same situation that you were able to, do that. So that's always important. So as you were, the women in tech, that's a huge mentorship opportunity, because you have all these young ladies and that you're trying to empower. The imposter syndrome could come in. I'm afraid to get on the stage and all these kinds of things. So there's a lot of issues outside the technology piece that you're going through. So how is that addressed? Because we can understand tech and all those things, but sometimes maybe I don't feel confident being me. And, the term for that is the imposter syndrome. And who am I to say?
Well, I would say that I try my best to provide the best advice and to listen to when I have a mentee. I try to listen and understand from which perspective and background they come from. Like for some people, they have maybe what was applicable to me would not be applicable to them, given what's happening or ongoing in their circumstances right now. So I try to really listen well and tailor make advices for these people, I think with more interaction, with more time spent, you would be able to provide a better advice for your mentees.
Yeah. You started off the conversation about the entrepreneurial journey. It's not as easy as it looks. People say, oh, I want to do this, but they have no idea what you go through from the other side. And trust me, we can all probably write a book, on doing that. So as you think of the journey that you've gone through, and you're at this, this big global stage now, in setting this up, that was powerful, but you made it. How do you, of an aspiring woman in tech, looking at you, what advice would you give them to say, yes, you can do this because I did it? What kind of advice would you give a room full of young ladies who are looking at you and said, I want to be where you are in 5 years, 10 years?
Well, I would say that given the fast-paced technology and development and the move, how the world is moving nowadays, one person cannot be one dimensional. You need to be multidimensional. You really need to be more diverse. You really need, you cannot, like, what you know today might not be applicable tomorrow. So being agile and being exposed is no longer an option. It's a necessity for you. So I advise everyone, apart from sticking to the job they have, they really should work on themselves, on their career, on their education, on their learning, on their network. Networking is extremely important. You cannot imagine what you might unlock with your network. So I would really first of all invite them to start joining groups, start doing networking, and it all comes with baby steps. You don't have to put a high goal in front of yourself and start questioning whether you can do it or not. You just need to start wherever you can, and then I think the ball will start rolling, and this is how it goes.
Yeah, it's a continuous journey, so it's not done, overnight. So when you think back to advice you've given young ladies over a period of time, or people over a period of time, could you describe a success story that someone you started working with and now they're doing, oh my goodness, and they're just doing great things?
Yeah, actually, it's one of my team members she was very close to me, and we really had a bond. And when she decided to move on her own, I really supported her with my advices, with my tips, even like until now. Sometimes we meet a lot, and I push her in her career, in her journey, in her education. And you cannot imagine how rewarding it is to me to see the impact I have made on this young lady.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she's my baby, I'm so proud of her, and it means a lot to me to see her grow and thrive the way she is today.
Okay. I'm going to flip this because I'm going to say this, and I know you may feel uncomfortable with me saying, I feel the same way about you when I look at all the things you're doing, the impact you're having on Saudi Arabia, the impact you're having on women in tech, and all the cool things you're doing. And I'm like, I know her. I remember her. I know her. I feel so good when I see these posts. I feel so good. So I'm kind of flipping it back on you.
I'm really humbled around, that I'm so humbled by the way you really describe me. It means a lot to me.
I'm only telling the truth. So it's not like I'm making all this stuff up. So I'm only telling the truth, because the thing is, when you're trying to get to a certain point in life, it's a struggle. It's not easy. And I think the more that people can share stories about the struggles you went through, because a lot of people will see you as the country director of Women in Tech, huge global organization. You're in charge of a country, technical women in tech. They see that as an easy road. And one of the reasons that we started the CEO series we want to talk about the detours and the left turns, right turns, and you didn't know how to figure it out. All these kinds of things that keeps coming about. Dr. Jackie Badawi said, very well said, keep on shining, dear Maya.
Hi, hello, Jackie.
Yeah, and Abdil says, what is the most rewarding part? What is the most rewarding part of your career journey when you look back on everything that you've done?
Me being with you today on the CEO series.
Was that?
Me being with you today on the CEO series. No, really, like you talking about my career path and where it had led today. I think this is extremely rewarding for me. The comments I receive from people, sometimes it's good that we pause and we really celebrate the hard work we've done. Because I wasn't used to do this. I'm always like on a roller coaster. I'm always like all over the place, from one conference to another, working on my ventures, on my education, as I told you. So sometimes it's good that we really recognize and the work we've done.
Yeah, job well done. Job well done. Yeah, job well done. So when you look back on the journey, if you had to pick one point that you was extremely proud of, is there one thing that stands out?
Well, I would say that adaptability. This is what I really am proud of, being having the flexibility and the ability to adapt to all the new challenges I encountered during my past or throughout my career. Because I think this is a key ingredient to success: being able to adapt to everything ongoing around you, and to have the endurance and the perseverance to sustain the project you are working on. So the adaptability definitely is something I was never born flexible, and having this adaptability, this is something I acquired throughout my journey and my path. And one more thing I'm also proud of actually is the impact when I think this is priceless, like very rewarding when you feel people are like, they look up to you and they come and they shower me with I also like I cannot if I show you my LinkedIn like inbox, the amount of messages I receive even from young girls asking me for tips and how can we trade, what do you think we should do to have a passive income, which courses do we take, like it means a lot to me when they seek for advice.
Yeah, but you know what I like in you telling that story is that it has impact, because a lot of people would just fluff it off and keep moving with that. And one of the things I will always respond to people, even if I'm not interested. I will always respond, because it takes a few minutes and it can impact someone's life. When you talk about a young girl who says, I want to do this, how can I do this? Someone asked me the other week, they said, I'm looking for a mentor and I would love to have a conversation with you. I said, anytime, we'll set it up. Even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, it's okay. And I think the more we as so-called leaders, I say that in quotes, do that, I think the world will be a better place. Just try and help somebody.
You cannot imagine sometimes how, like, just 1 minute of your time, it might change someone's life. Like being supportive. Some people, they sometimes they lose it. They feel like they're no longer interested in their jobs. They have no hope, or they're not motivated. So motivating someone would really might change their life, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So thank you for doing that. So what's next up? So you talked about the future of women in tech and what that would look like in 5, 10, 15 years from now. What are your goals for women in tech in Saudi specifically?
My number one goal is to grow my community, definitely, and have more women join our movement, as well as to have more young girls actually enter into STEM fields. And we're working on lots of schools, many educational programs to bring in more women and young girls into STEM, because this is where it all starts. Mm-hmm. And we've had I don't know if you've seen my last panel at LEAP, the panel I curated with on the EduTech stage.
Yeah.
And we've had many decision makers from the public, the private, and NGOs to talk about this topic.
Mm-hmm. So are you in Saudi full time now, or are you kind of like me, one country to the next country?
I'm in Saudi. Apart from the international conferences I attend, I'm in Saudi. I'm based in Riyadh.
Okay. So we got to know from Jacob. He says, do you believe that women started to be more involved in building the future of the Middle East, or they are already?
They are already, actually, but we need to. I like this question. I think that we are witnessing a lot of women in decision making, in CEO position, in government entities, and the whole thing is the whole energy, the whole. There's a really promising future for our region. Especially in terms of diversity and inclusion, it's attracting people from all over the place.
Yeah.
And the opportunity now, especially with the government, like encouraging women and positioning women in leadership spaces, I think sky is the limit.
You know, one of the goals of the show, as I said, we created this because we wanted people to get a real life vision of someone that's climbing the ladder to get to the so-called proverbial, I call it the top of the pyramid, and talking through that. But I want to say that today you kind of brought it all out, and you did a very, very good job of explaining how do you start from here and how do you end up over here. So that was awesome. So is there any thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience in closing as to a final message that you want to give to people across the globe?
Well, I think I have only one key advice for not only women, for everyone watching me today. I would say that I would advise them to be present in the moment, because we're constantly like busy achieving our long-term goals that we really forget the miracles and the wonders that happens in our life on a daily basis. So it's good that we try to be present, to focus on what we have right now, to live in the moment and enjoy. And even if it didn't work, if it didn't matter what we're doing, just try and appreciate the things that we have today.
In other words, put the phone down and engage in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, engage in the moment. That's what the young lady said. I said, I put my phone down. She said, oh my God, you did? I said, yes, because I knew there was something powerful coming up. So when is the next conference coming up? In Saudi, or is it in the middle? Is it going to be in Dubai, or where's the next conference coming up?
Yeah, for women in tech, you mean, right? Because I have different conferences.
Where can you be viewed that you're speaking? What does your schedule look like?
It's super busy. Starting September, it's gonna be like crazy schedule. But I really would love to invite you and invite everyone to attend our Women in Tech MENA Awards ceremony in Riyadh on October 28th. And then hopefully you'll be able to join us in Baku for our global awards ceremony on the 14th of November. Okay. This is for 2024. For 2025, we have our global summit in Osaka in Japan, in this beautiful country. So you are all welcome to join us.
So Baku, what are the dates for Baku?
November 14th.
Okay. So, as soon as we get off, I'm going to go check my calendar to see what's there.
Yeah, it's going to be in line with COP29. So I think it's going to be extremely interesting.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I've been excited all week because I know we'd get a chance to catch up, and we've been longtime friends and whatnot, but it was good to have you on the show, that you could talk about the global initiatives that you're running and what a powerful impact you're having. I always will comment, I love the impact you're having, because that one person could be sitting there thinking about their lives, and one statement that you made online could propel them to move forward. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy calendar to spend an hour with us on Friday morning.
Thank you. It means a lot to me that you're hosting me today on your show. And I can't wait to see you again in person. I'm waiting for you in Riyadh.
I'm going to see you in Riyadh. Working on something now. So thank you so much. Hang on as we begin to close out. For people that's listening, share the link to this interview. And like us, because we're trying to build up our subscriptions now. I think we're like at 11,000, but we'd love to get to 25,000. So like us, share it across the social stage. And thank you for listening in. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you next Friday. And Maya, hold on for a sec.
Take the CEO series with you anywhere, anytime. All episodes are now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and major streaming platforms. It's not just an interview. It's a masterclass in leadership.